Hello everybody, it's Amanda from Scrimpingmommy.co.uk. A few days back I did a video using the mini treat bag thinlits. It's an awesome set. I'll leave a link either below or in a little circle at the top here, which leads you to the video where I first used these and created a shabby chic gift bag. Now the thinlits are in the annual catalogue. They're here, they're right at the back on page 212. If you want to have a look, you get an awful lot in the set to create with. And after I made mine, I just thought, oh, I could make a mini album with them. So I've gone away and I've had a play and I've come up with a very, very simplistic mini album using these thinlits. And I've just used these two pieces. And it's the basic treat bag that we're using as the pages for the mini album. So although I have shown you how to construct them, I'll show you again. So you cut out two pieces like so, and you fold and burnish all of these score lines here. Now before you create the album, if you want to, I would at this point ink all of the edges, which is what I've done with mine. And then you want to attach this piece here with this piece here. Now I have found that whilst nothing needs to be perfect, you need to line it up quite nicely, otherwise when you join your bag at the back it won't line up properly, and you know your measuring will be off a bit. So just make sure that you've creased those folds nicely and neatly. And then I do actually advise wet glue, because then you've just got that little bit of time to manoeuvre as it were if you haven't got it perfect. So you line that up against that edge there, getting it as perfect as you can. Give it a press, and then this is where I'm going to double check that it's lined up right. And because I've used wet glue, I've just got that little bit of extra time because I want that lined up really, really well, because then the rest of the bag will go together without any problems. I'm just going to move it up ever so slightly. You want to ensure that when it's folded it doesn't encroach on that fold there, otherwise it won't line up right. And I only know this because I have made quite a few of these bags now. So yeah, make sure that's all lined up nicely. Give that chance to dry. I've used crumb cake cardstock. You can use what you want. You can just use DSP, but you know, I'm making a mini album here, so I want these pages to be nice and sturdy. So then I'm going to add a line of glue here. There's quite an overlap there where it folds over. If you look, there's a good 1/4 of an inch, maybe more, of an overlap, so you don't need to worry too much. So fold that over, make sure again that it's lined up nicely, so that it doesn't encroach on that flap there, and then that the teeth marks, like little teeth there, line up nicely, and then you know your bag's created correctly because you've got a consistent pattern there. Okay, now so I've got two here. So now how have I bound them? Right, well I've bound them using the flap. I did say when I did my original video that I could see these being hinges, and that's what I've done. And how I've stuck them together is, my first one goes like so, so this is the front, and this flap here will eventually attach to my front cover. Okay, so with the join, that's the back. Now I didn't feel it necessary to close the bottom there, and the reason being that the way this is designed, once all the pages are together, your spine's going to be there, nothing's going to come out, and you know, it just gives you that little bit of extra room. You can go right down to the fold with your matting and your photo mats or whatever you want to put in. So you don't need to close that pocket off if you don't want. Ordinarily, if you were making a treat bag, you would fold that over and glue it, and there's your bag, your full bag. But we're going to use this to make a mini album. So that's your first one, so you leave that open like so. Okay, and I am adding my covers last. So the next one, just simply you attach this flap here onto the back of your next page. Okay, so I'll do it with wet glue so that we've got a bit of a wiggle room. And you make as many bags as you want pages, and you just keep going. So this is the front. I'm lifting this flap that would go to the back to form the bag. I'm lifting that to the front. That's going to attach to my pages. Okay, so fold that over, that's my first page. The second one, the flap that would normally go to the back to form the bag, you pull to the front. Make sure you're like backwards and forwards on that crease to make it nice and supple. And then you are lining that up like so. This is why using wet glue is good, because you can line that up and make sure that that is lined up correctly. And that them bags are together nicely. There we go. Okay. And then give that a press, and once that is dry, that will flip open and you've got a lovely page there, and then that's a page. So then you just carry on sticking bags on the back of each other until you've got as many pages as you want. I have made 6. I will tell you, and if you know that if you crease those folds nicely, you'll have lots of manoeuvre in those pages, and the cardstock's lovely and sturdy, so you don't need to worry. And so you attach them all together, and then I will show you how to make a cover. Okay, so I'll be back in a moment to show you how I have done the layering. Okay, so here is my mini album. It's still a work in progress and I'm filming it as I complete it. So here we go, I've got my pages all attached to each other nicely, as you can see. I've done 6 pages, and so I've started my layering process, and so I'm cutting black cardstock because that's what I've decided I'm going to do, and I'm cutting them, and here's the measurement here. You want 4.5 by 3 3/8. That is the size of the main layering piece there, and it's also the size of any tags that or anything that you decide to put in here. And I am using the Petal palette Memories and More cards. I've got loads of them. I bought them with good intentions of doing Memories and More layouts and haven't quite got round to it. So I thought, what a great way to use some of them, because you know, some are, they've got lines, brilliant for journaling. Whether I'm going to just leave them like this or add tabs, we'll see later on in the film. And they slot in there perfectly. So I've got one in every pocket, and every one is different, and in the pockets are all ones for journaling, and the matting layer is going to be quite plain. Okay, and the Memories and More cards are awesome because some of them are plain, and then some of them have got fantastic you know, sayings and quotes and sentiments on them. So I've alternated it between plain and words. Okay, so that's what I've done all the way to the end, and then in this one I've just added some of the smaller Memories and More cards as well. So I'm going to go and do a bit more work on this now. I will say leave the back page until the very last, because what we're going to need to do this, as there isn't a tab here because we've attached it here, we're going to add a small tab. We're going to make one ourselves, and we're just going to add that so that the back of this then connects to our cover. So I'll go and do some more work, and then I'll show you the progress so you can follow along. Okay, so I have completed all of my matting there. I've done one on the front and back of every page, and I'm now going to show you how to add another tab on here. The same, so we've got a tab there, and we'll have a tab at the back, and then we'll move on to constructing a cover. So all I've done is I've made a structure strip. I've used the same cardstock, and I've cut this 1 inch wide by the width of the bag, which is 3 3/8. Okay, so it's exactly the same, and I'm going to glue it, because again I think it allows you just that little bit of extra wiggle room so you can get it lined up right, because if you don't get this lined up right, then you know it's all going to be on the wonk, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to smooth that glue so I've got it right up to the edges so that everywhere is covered, and also so it's not splodgy. So what we want to do is we want this flap to be able to attach to a cover. So we're attaching on the fold up to that line there, up to the edge of that last page. Okay, so get it on and make sure it's lined up. Have a look before you commit. Make sure it's straight, which mine's not. Right, some things don't have to be terribly perfect, but I think when you're making mini albums, if you don't get it quite right, then it will be, the cover won't sit right and the pages won't open right. So they're all nice and flush, they're all in line, there, and it now has a tab on the front and on the back. Okay, so now we have the bare basic of our mini album there. So now I'm going to go and think up a way of adding our cover. I won't be long. Okay, so I've worked out that for our little mini album here that we're making, we need our covers to measure 5.5 by 4, and we need the spine to measure 3/4 of an inch by 4. And that's going to give us a nice sturdy cover. You could just cut your paper to cardstock to size and score it and then just stick it on, okay, but it wouldn't be very sturdy and we don't want it to fall to pieces, so I'm going to do it right. This chipboard is lightweight and it's from the back of the, when you get some foiled cardstock like the silver foiled card or the copper, this comes in the back, and that's what I'm using. Now it's this, to lay it out like so, is too big for a 12 by 12, so I'm going to have to cut these 12 by 12 cardstock into half, so we'll have 2 strips at 12 by 6, and I'm going to join them in the middle, and then we're going to lay it out. So that's how I'm going to have to do it, because otherwise it's not going to fit. So let me get my trimmer. Those of you that have made mini albums will automatically know how to cover your front and back cover and the spine, so you don't need to necessarily watch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to join these 2 pieces together. I've not actually ever done this before, I'll just tell you. Never made one of these before, making it up as I go along. So I'm going to join that on there like so, and then let's have a look. Try and get it straight. I'm using my grid paper to make sure that I'm gluing those together straight, and then I'm going to make sure that my spine goes in the centre. Okay, so I'm going to glue my spine on first to make sure it's in the centre. Okay, so let me get some glue. And plenty of that on, I think. You know, I'm making it up as I go along here. I have no idea what I'm doing. Right, I've watched Kathy Autumn for hours. I know what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm not going to need all of this cardstock. I'm probably going to end up trimming some off. So I'm going to put it on my grid paper to help me line it up. I do want enough to be able to wrap over. So I'm judging about there. Okay, I'm guessing. I'm eyeballing it. Right, so here are my other 2 pieces. Now they need to go together. Now I don't want them right up against each other like so, or else it won't open and close. Now I do believe you're meant to have at least 1 thickness of the same chipboard in between before you glue it down, which would put it to there. I think I'm going to go for 2 to be on the safe side. I'll go for 2 thicknesses. Okay, so I'm going to glue that all over. Lots and lots. And then I'm going to put 2 scrap pieces of the same card right up against the spine there, and then line up that there. Okay, take that out now, make sure that's straight, and I think that will be enough of a gap. I'm going to give that a press, and I'm going to do the same here, and then I'm going to pause whilst I go and wrap the paper all around. I'm pretty sure most of you know how to do this, although you might not actually, because you know it's the first time I've done it. So 2 thicknesses, put that up, oops, get in there, 2 thicknesses of the cardstock, and add that on. Is that straight? I want it to be pretty straight, please. I think that's pretty straight. Okay, so then obviously what I'll do is I will make sure that's dry, and then I'm going to score all the way around, and I'm going to fold that cardstock over, and I'm going to wrap these covers in the cardstock. Okay. I'm just manipulating it. I'll have to cut some off. Okay. Right, so I'm going to go and finish this and just wrap this. Just manipulate the covers as I go. Scoring it. I don't know, making it up. Scoring it and manipulating that paper so that it doesn't all crack. Okay. And I'll go and finish this and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have wrapped my chipboard. Not done a terribly neat job, but you know, I suppose it's something that comes with experience. It looks neat on the outside, it's all nice and flush, and the cover's open. So for the inside, I've cut 2 pieces which measure 5 3/8 by 3 7/8. Is that the right one? Yeah. So that it covers over my not very tidy work. But what I'm going to do first of all is attach the flaps underneath. So I'm thinking I might just need to trim a tiny bit of that off. I'm not altogether sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my flaps, and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use red line tape. Don't know if the glue, don't know, I'll use glue. We'll go for glue. I can't see what can be any stronger than a bit of glue. It's going to soak into that chipboard nicely, isn't it? It's bound to do. Okay. So, if I line that up on my spine, like so, and then let the book just relax and just pull that flap just ever so slightly away from the, have a look, there we go, just pull that flap ever so slightly away from the crease mark, I think, and then close it. And I'll do the same on the other side. So I'll add some glue there. And I will do the same. And we'll just attach it. Just let the book relax. And attach that. It's probably an easy way of doing it. People that make mini albums are probably screaming at the screen right now. But, you know, I'm doing it how I can. So there we go. So that fits in there nice and neat. And give that a squeeze in. Hopefully that will dry. And we've got our little book. And the spine is loose. Okay. Let me just see. Okay, so I've had to pause my video about 3 times because it's the weekend. My house is busy and I keep getting interrupted. So I've added my folder, my covers that I've made myself. I have added the cardstock over the top of my untidy folding, and now it looks nice and neat. And I have glued the flaps on underneath. Had to do a bit of jiggery pokery. As I say, I've not made a mini album myself before, so what I had to do was I just had to coax that last flap under there and fold it in the crease so that it all opened nicely. But we've got there and it's nice and tidy. So all I've got to do now is attach my last card to there, which I did have one that I did put to one side. Can I find it? No, it's gone. I did have one, but not to worry. So I just need to put my last card there, and I need to cut my layers for the front and decorate it. So I'll go and work those measurements out, and then I'll be back again. Oh, stop, start, stop, start. I'm back. Finished the album. Nearly had a nervous breakdown, but I've worked it out, and it's neat and it's flush and it shuts and it opens and it's tidy. It's just taken me a while because it's the weekend and I keep getting interrupted. So here we are. I've decorated it in monotone. I decided not to add any colour because I've used the petal palette, which is predominantly black and white. I've added some little brass corners here. Just something there that I don't want, whatever that is. Little brass corners here. I've bought those probably from eBay or something. I don't know, I've had them for years. And it does work, and it functions as a mini album, which is what I set out to achieve using the thinlits treat bags. And we've got some memories and more cards in there. You can journal, you can add photos, you could you know, if you're more experienced or you've got more time to play, you can add pockets and flaps and all sorts. You could put flaps, attach flaps to that bit and have it all open. You can have magnetised parts. You know, the sky's the limit with little mini albums like this. But it's worked and I'm happy, and it's sturdy. It's lovely and sturdy. I've used the crumb cake cardstock there. Some of these matting layers are still a little bit wet, so it's not completely dry yet. And every single one has got a journaling card in. I may add a little pull tab there, but I'm done for today. I'm mentally exhausted. And you know, the spine, all the pages open nicely without straining the spine, so it does work. I have managed it. And there we go, we've got a little mini album made out of our mini treat bag thinlits. I think that's really rather cute, and I think I'll have another go. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying with me. So the main things that I've used and the sizes will all be over on my blog at scrimpingmommy.co.uk. I know I have stopped and started, but I've kind of like made it up as I've gone along. I haven't followed anybody's tutorial. I have completely and utterly just done it off the top of my head, and yeah, it's worked. So there we go. I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.